and Yoruba, such prayers will be answered. See option. Once again, we say congratulations, Dr. Reuben Abati. Congratulations. Let's clap for him again, please. Now, in a gathering of this nature, I want to make an honest confession that establishing protocol is a landmine. But I will try. So if along the line something blows up, just dodge. Just leave me to carry my cross. But here, we have our Baba. Call him Father of the Nation. Nobody is going to question that. Former President, Chief Okikiola Olusegun Aremu Obasanjo, GCFR, is seated here. I keep saying this. I had the privilege of playing Aremu on stage, and it's been the best experience I've ever had in my acting career. Let's clap for Baba one more time. It gives us joy whenever you step up for us. And at this point in our history, we need you. But we move on. We also have a former president, a peace-loving president of this nation. He did well. That's why he's able to walk around with his head held high. President, good luck. Ebele Jonathan. Today, we are going to read about how you became president. So if anybody is not too sure, today is the day. Thanks to Reuben. And please thank you for showing up. You've just told us there is reward for loyalty. Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. In our midst, we have the Deputy Governor of Lagos State, Dr. Hamzat. Please, a big round of applause for him, please. Thank you, sir, for showing up. In our midst, we have former governors. Two of them are senators, even if one is a senator labor leader. Please, let's acknowledge a two-term governor of Ogun State, His Excellency, Distinguished Senator Otumba Benga Daniel. And in his usual NLC style, this senator, governor, ex-governor, two-term governor, Edo State, sir, comrade, let me add that, Adams Oshiomele is here with us. Just to remind you, sir, that doctors are on strike. Do something, sir. Thank you very much. We have quite a number of big names in-house. We'll take a few of these names, and we will be acknowledging as our time goes on. Please, in no particular order, we have a 76-year-old damsel. They call her Dame. We call her Dame, and we know she is Dame. Please join me as I welcome Dame Maiden Ibro. She is here with us. I'll tell you a little secret, a very short one. She forgot her scarf which she wanted to just spread across this beautiful dress. But somebody said, thank God you forgot it, because we can see your beautiful legs. Let's clap for her. Let's clap for her. Here with us, we've got Chief Felix Fagbongbe. Let's clap for him, please. Let me say this on a note of warning and a friendly one too. EFCC is here. That is not to say you should not do the needful at the right time. I know you know what I mean. So please, let's welcome a gentleman, a man that is committed to getting things right in this country, a man that says no one is above the law, a man that has his eyes scrutinizing all that is happening, and I'll tell you, we will be better for it. Please join me as I welcome EFCC's chairman, Ola Olukoyede. Of course, my royal father is seated. Take that as a sick tune. He made up his mind years ago that whenever any of his children are doing something worthwhile, he's going to make time for it. And I'm saying this because he told me personally. In Egbaland, we're very proud to have him as our ruler. I honestly would have been shocked if Reuben had something of this magnitude and Kabiesi is not here. Please join me as I welcome Kabiesi, Oba Adedotun Aremu Badebo Okukeno the fourth. Everybody say Kabiesi oh. I'll skip one and just quickly take another of Nigeria's highly respected traditional rulers. He's with us. Whenever he steps in, you could see the grace of God on him. Kabiesi, the Olota of Ota, Oba Professor Adeyemi Abdul Kabir, Oba Lanlege. Kabiesi Onitele of Itele Ota is also here. Oba Demola Asorota Eletu. Eba Misha Kabiesi. Now back to the pharmacist turned pastor. Whenever I'm in his presence, I feel very, very humble and elated. This is one of the most respected Nigerians that ever lived. And I'm saying this with a sense of authority and might. Prince Julius Adeluse is here with us. Because of him, I'm going to mind my English today. Of course, at this point in time, I want to say that, would I say we miss him? But I'll say he should weigh in with his knowledge of foreign affairs. This is one gathering that the video should be shown to Donald Trump. That we are a peace-loving, fun-loving, developmental, I've got to mind my English now, developmental focused Nigerians and violence hating. Please join me as I welcome Professor Bolaji Akeyemi. He is here with us. I had the privilege of meeting him years ago, and I'm talking about the next person. I had the privilege of interviewing him. I've had that very rare privilege of interviewing him on television. And I respect him to no limits. Actually, Christendom and this nation is lucky to have him. The bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto, Sakwato, is here with us. The highly respected Bishop Hassan Kuka. At 76, he could pass for a 56-year-old man. He deserves another round of applause. There must be something in the sacrament that he takes. Chief Unduka Obegbina is also here with us. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. The media guru is here with us. We are going to try and save time. We're going to try and save time. Because there are still so many names we must mention. But we'll be doing this bit by bit. But permit me to acknowledge the presence of Bob D. Dele Momodu. He's here with us. I cannot but mention yet another highly internationally respected and acknowledged person in the house. Please join me as I acknowledge the presence of Mr. Biodun Shobanjo. Gentleman par excellence. One day, I will get the secret about the bow tie. One day. Thank you so much. We will.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I believe we need to even introduce ourselves as well. I've not actually mentioned my name yet, but I was learning from my Egbon here the process of establishing protocol, and I believe he did an amazing job. Please give him a round of applause for me. Thank you. I was taking notes. My name is Titilayo Onyison. Presently, I function as lead anchor for Wake Up Nigeria on TVC, and it's a pleasure to be host at such an auspicious event today. Thank you.
I will implore you to kindly ignore the difference in height. My name is Yemi Shodimo. Now, to the celebrant, before we move on. I am elated to be standing here to be doing this. Because take it back to the early 80s when this young man was my junior at Abeokuta Grammar School. Baba just said something. I will not mention BBHS here, but Abeokuta Grammar School, sir, to be specific, because I have the mic. I had this young man who was a junior. I was in the HSC while he was in the final year, secondary school or whatever, whichever it is. Even in our class as seniors, we respected him. I'm not shocked that today is doctor. In actual fact, there's a professor in this guy sitting here. I remember clearly that the principal then, the late Mr. Oridota, used to cite him as an example to others. His brilliance, his intellect is amazing. Is somebody clapping here? So, the Chinese will say chincho, meaning not be today. His name has been mentioned earlier. But I am excited that this young man today is 60 and is doing wonderful things. Nigeria is proud to have you. Africa is proud to associate with you. The world is glad to have you living here at this point in time. Please, let's join as I acknowledge Dr. Reuben Abati. Now, I don't want to go to any other Chinese saying because what is coming to my head is Eye Kefi Apakofo. Reuben has at his side a perfect match. And I'm going to use his words to describe her. We're talking about a package of intelligence, value, financial acumen, purpose, wisdom, class, ambition, and so much more. And I'm talking real to Kike. Kike Lomo. Yes. Atoda Owo Abati. Let's clap for her, please. So while we are saying happy birthday to Reuben, I'm saying happy birthday also to you. Let's clap for the two of them one more time, please. Let's go on.
Thank you so much for being here. And of course, to officially kick off today's events, officially open today's proceedings, it's our honor to invite a man whose leadership story is woven into Nigeria's destiny, a statesman, a reformer, a patriot. Please join us as we welcome His Excellency, Chief Olusegun Obasanjo, GCFR, to deliver the chairman's welcome address. Thank you.
We should have added a former student of BBHS.
Sir, I was half expecting you to jump on stage as you've done so many times.
No, Baba jumps down.
He jumps down. Oh, okay, okay. I stand corrected.
Please be seated. Please be seated. Your Excellencies, Kabisis, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, and Reuben and Kike. Let me start with a word of apology. For those of you who live in the city of Lagos, of course, moving around in Lagos is no problem. But for those of us who live in the countryside, even when we plan our visit to Lagos, we cannot be absolutely sure of what will happen. And we had an accident on the road, and I had to even go against the one way to make sure that I'm here. And Reuben, I tried to get to you, which I got, to give my apologies for coming late. Please forgive me for coming late. Shodimu. Kabiyesi Alake has asked me to leave you in his hand when he has opportunity to. Because you went to a school which is senior to our school in age, but not in any other way. We leave that to another day. Reuben, I come here to felicitate with you. 70 years in Obiok. I did not know you at school, as Shodim knew you at school. I came to know you about 30 years ago, you remember, with you and your friend, Ayo Adonewale. Over that period, you have made progress. As a journalist, as a TV presenter, as a commentator, as a community leader, as a political aide, even as a politician. And today, not just as a writer, but 3 books at the same time. So you have become a great author as well. I will emphasize you have made progress. And you know, and you remember, when our paths first crossed, as a young man, you have the young man's ambition. A house over your head, a car for you to move around with. All that by now you have achieved. So you have made progress. One thing that I did not quite agree with you, if you remember, was in your struggling to make progress. You did not count much on what I regard as essential attributes of life for success and for nation building. And I'm happy that now that you have seen it all, those essential attributes are as important to you today as they were to me in those days and as they are to me today. What I see in this is time is the great proof of truth. The truth that I stood for at that time. In time, you have now come to stand for it. And these attributes are attributes that are imperative for good living, either as individual or as organization, ethically, morally, and wholesomely for nation building and individual development. I am happy that in my lifetime, I can say I have a son in Reuben Abati. Who has matured, who has understood, who has progressed, and who is now on the path of success. And I think that is a lesson that I believe you are teaching all of us here. And I believe lesson that you should carry on for the rest of your life. And I want to say again, there's difference between progress and success. You've made progress, now you have to make success. And may God continue to help you to make success. Happy birthday and many happy birthdays.
Hello. Is somebody clapping for Baba one more time, please?
I was actually looking at all the social media content creators. They were waiting for Baba to jump. No, they were waiting. They were waiting. Me to my phone. I was standing by, but.
Let's clap for him again, please. Let's clap for him again. Please be seated. Please be seated. That was vintage Baba Obasanjo. We are glad that today is at the time. It's not in Kigali or Switzerland or the United Nations. I'm working very hard, Baba, so that one day I would have the luck of you saying, in my lifetime, I have a son in Yemisho Demo. Thank you so much, sir, for your usual words of wisdom.
Up next on our program is a special documentary. We would like to implore you to turn your attention to the multimedia screen.
We will hold on to that for a second. We will hold on to that for a second. As we are going to take an item before the documentary. And this is going to be the keynote speaker's bit. It's been carefully chosen. I am not in the least surprised that is the man to deliver the keynote speech. Please join me as I welcome Bishop Matthew Hazan Kuka, Bishop of the Catholic Diocese of Sokoto. He is here with us. I don't know which chapter of Matthew will show up today.
Thank you. The first is the good news, which is that President Obasanjo, as he was walking by, just realized that I was here. And he said he didn't know I was here. Otherwise, the conversation would have been slightly different, because he would have spoken about heaven and my mission to save his soul. But like I always tell him, his name is Matthew. And when you get to heaven, there will be no Olusegun. So if you don't answer this name, Matthew, you will have to go find a Yoruba shrine somewhere. There will be none. So you better come back to answer your name, Matthew Olusegun Obasanjo. Your Excellency, thank you, but I'm extraordinarily blessed, because in the last 1 year alone, we have shared many platforms. with him. And he is a walking encyclopedia and a walking lesson in knowledge. And I really am happy that Reuben Abati, you've been, I didn't know you put yourself up for adoption, but now you've been formally adopted. Well, when I am actually supposed to be in Ekiti, because the Bishop of Ekiti, who died and is being buried today, the other bishops are in Ekiti and I'm here, but I had already committed myself to Dr. Abati. And being an elder, if I didn't show up here, it will amount to child abuse. So, given the age difference between us, Dr. Abati, it's not in my text, but now that President Jonathan is here, let me say something. I don't know whether they remember. You're going to be told later about how President Jonathan became a president. There is an incident. Many of you remember the National Peace Committee that I convened in 2015 when there was an apocalyptic diagnosis that Nigeria was going to collapse. And the tension that existed at that moment, something happened. And it was about getting President Jonathan and General Buhari to sign a commitment to free, fair, and credible elections in Nigeria. We fixed the appointment. President Jonathan gave us a time. We went. Unfortunately, not unfortunately, it happened to be now President Tinubu's birthday in Lagos, and Buhari and everybody had to come for that birthday. Now, just at the end, it was just towards, there was only 1 or 2 days more to elections. And we needed to get both of them in one room. And it proved almost literally impossible. President Jonathan was going to go to, what's the state? Delta State. And his schedule had already been concluded. Then, of course, at about midnight, General Buhari came back, and I woke up in the morning only to be told that President Buhari was available and would come for the signing of the peace accord. President Jonathan was going to be in Warri or Asaba at 9. They were supposed to depart at 9. I think this story is very important because then I now said we had written a text of the agreement. President Buhari had read the text of the agreement and said he was happy with it. Now, unfortunately for me, we didn't know how to reach President Jonathan, and I didn't know how he would come and sign an agreement he had not read. Luckily for us, the day we went to see him in the villa, as I was leaving, I saw one young man who came to me and said, Bishop, I like you. I've always wanted to meet you. People say I look like you. I said, okay, that's good enough. And I think we exchanged number. He was anxious to get my number. I gave him my number. So when we gathered at Sheraton, I now called him. I said, please, is there any way? I called him at 7 o'clock in the morning. Can I read the president? He said, it's not possible. You can't get the president at 7 o'clock in the morning. 8 o'clock, all of a sudden, finally, he told me the president was having breakfast. And I said, okay, I called Dr. Abati. I said, where are you? He said, I'm in the villa. I said, do you have your iPad? He said, yes. I said, I'm going to send you a draft copy of the agreement. Can you go and see the president and read it out to him? He said, the president is having breakfast. And yet, he was able to go, read this text, and came back to us to say the president was happy with the text. It just tells you the kind of things that can happen when people who work with you gel. And I think that's why, as I said, among many other things, I thought I should be here for this event. Now Nigeria is between what I call AT and BT, or BT and AT. You know what that means? That is, right now, everything that happens in Nigeria has to be before Trump or after Trump. So, everything in between now is just details. So we are now, the title of my keynote is Nigeria, time to reload. Because despite the accomplishment of Dr. Abati, when I checked the records, I discovered that actually people like him and a lot of other people in the media, somehow, and please don't get me wrong, the standards are falling, not due to lack of intellect, but due to age. Because Dr. Abati's employer today, the debonair Duke, who is sitting here, started a newspaper at the age of 24. I remember with my friend, Sonola Olumese, as the editor. Chris Okole started fantastic, one of the most memorable paper magazines. Started at the age of 26. Peter Nahoro editing Daily Times. Matthew Mbondoka, a lot of other people and their great achievement. The challenge, therefore, is what happened, as somebody will say, on the road to heaven. And how have we ended up where we are now in Nigeria? Many of you are familiar with the poem by Robert Frost about the road not taken. It is evident that because we are taking so long to get to our destination, and because the goalposts are always constantly seemingly shifting, we must be asking ourselves, what is happening with map reading? Why have we ended up with a nation of such disrupted dreams? I look back at Nigeria. The other day I was reflecting. I said, if somebody wants to visit this country today, where will I take them to? I decided to take part of my holiday and I went to Alexandria because it's a place I've been dreaming of visiting. And I was shocked, the things I saw in Egypt. And I'm told everything is tied to, they don't have oil, but everything is literally tied to tourism. I'm asking myself, if somebody came to Nigeria today, where would they go to? Many people go to the White House, people go and see Downing Street, people go to Champs-Élysées, they go to Paris, they can see where the president lives. But even in our own country, in Nigeria, if you wanted to go, you cannot as a tourist go and see you can't go and see the presidential villa as a tourist. There's no way, unless you are hovering over a plane, you could be shot down. Other places you can go and see where president they stay, but in Nigeria you cannot see where president they stay. The point I'm making is that the absence of monuments in our country, because, and I will speak briefly in the text, over the whole question of the creation of myths as the basis for nation building. For example, the Boers who arrived South Africa in 650. One of the things they remember, and they still remember very well, is what they call the Battle of the Blood River, which is a battle in which, according to their own narration, they were able to defeat over 20,000 Zulus. Only 464 white people defeated 20,000 Zulus. Today they have what is called the Voortrekker Monument in KwaZulu-Natal. Locally, I've been to the place. The Americans have a Thanksgiving Day. And Europe celebrates Normandy Day on the 6th of June. The challenge for us is, what do we celebrate? Because almost every year, either they will tell you the celebration of Oktoberfest is low-key or is no-key at all. The point I'm making, therefore, is that somehow something happened or didn't happen. The result is that we need to reload. Why will you reload? You reload because either you fire your shot wrongly, or the object moved, or something has happened. Few people know that there were 42 attempts to kill Hitler. Somehow, people keep missing. We need to reload because how do we explain the fact that there are over 60,000 projects that are abandoned across the length and breadth of Nigeria? How do we explain the economic hemorrhage captured in the illicit financial flows? First report that was given by Kofi Annan about 5 or 6 years ago quoted billions and billions of dollars were fleeing Africa. We ask ourselves, for example, now we are victims and hostages in the womb of ethnicity, religion, which elsewhere is a source of inspiration for us. Religion has become a subject of death. So the questions we need to ask, therefore, have to do with where did we get it wrong? Or how come even the things we did right, we didn't have the ability to consolidate on them? Here, the issues of identity, what we see, the myths around the myths of identity. Because if you ask yourself now, who are the prominent Nigerian statesmen that their names resonate across the length and breadth of Nigeria without punctuation? You will find that the Yorubas have their leader in Awolowo, the Igbos have their leader in Zik, the Northerners have their leader in Sardauna. We who are children of a lesser God have no idea. We don't know where to turn. We can only look for people who are going to adopt us. When you talk about the Americans will tell you that there are people that they call founding fathers, and they've become literally sacred monuments in the sense that their names are constantly being evoked, either to justify or to reprimand certain actions. You're talking of people like Benjamin Franklin, George Washington, John Adams, John Jay, Alex Hamilton, and Thomas Jefferson. Now, we have a problem of the lack of a text in Nigeria. You cannot be an artist without a text. That's what we are in Nigeria. Because the reason why many people will wonder, and I really don't want to even go there, but why do you think Americans will feel so fanatically? It's not about going to church or not going to church. It's about the fact that the sentiments that the word Christianity evokes in them. Remember that the founding fathers called the Puritans, some of the who were literally informed by the gospel of Puritanism. These early founding fathers fled from Europe. They were fleeing from the oppression, so to say, whether it's of the Catholic Church or the Anglican Church and other churches. So they had a very puritanical view of religion. And the result is that they were going to found a land. And for them, a land that was going to be based on the principles of the gospel. And that is why, as far back as 1630, a man called John Winthrop delivered a sermon which became actually the basis, more or less like the foundation for everything that America stands for in terms of how it sees itself. And it is from that speech delivered in 1630 that Winthrop spoke about. He was actually the first governor of Massachusetts Bay Colony. He was an English lawyer. But in his speech, he made a point and referred to America as a city on a hill. And it is from there, because the speech contains quotations from the prophet Micah, where people are enjoined to act justly, love tenderly, and walk humbly with their God. It is from that inspiration that you hear Americans talk about, in God we trust. You hear Americans talk about their manifest destiny. You hear America talking about them being God's country. And whatever problems you may have, America believes that, Professor Welaja Akiyemi is here, so I will not go there. But Americans believe, and they've convinced themselves, that they have a mission to save the world. Whether you agree with them or not, that's not the issue. And that mission has a foundation. The question for us in Nigeria, because Americans were committed in 1776, when they issued the Declaration of Independence, we are committed to the proposition that one, all men, we hold these truths to be self-evident. All men are created equal. And they are endowed by their Creator with rights that among these rights are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And it is to secure these rights that governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. So if you are messing around, and remember the First Amendment, Second Amendment, by the time you come to the Third Amendment, was the freedom of religion. So if here in Nigeria, we say, oh, you are free, you will only give you only we can give you freedom. To build church, we must give you permission. To build mosque, we must give you permission. The Americans place such a high premium on first of all, freedom. Okay, so if you don't have a foundation from where you can draw a sense of what values constitute the pillars for your nation, you'll find yourself in the situation that Nigeria finds itself now. For example, the Chinese, drawing from the teachings of Confucius, which is like their Bible, the Analects, like their Bible. For example, one quotation in the Analect says, "Never impose on others what you will not choose for yourself." And they have chosen a philosophy of the mean, M-E-A-N, the mean, that is the middle, against extremes. So Chinese, the foundation of Chinese life is moderation. Now, using the pendulum as a model, they say that this teaching assumes that there should be no extremes, and there must be a deliberate effort to find an equilibrium. In a sense of virtue, not necessarily the kind of virtue. Virtue is what makes us human. So it's not about which religion you worship. There are certain fundamental issues. So if you find us being such a chaotic, quarrelsome, angry, whatever, as we are in Nigeria, we lack a mean. We lack we lack a culture. We lack the institutional or the moral inspiration to establish kind of an equilibrium. So if we ask ourselves, who are our founding fathers? Because strange as it may sound, there are certain when you talk to the Chinese and how they see themselves, many of us think that the Chinese are running a dictatorship. Actually, the Chinese are running a multi-party system. Because there are political parties in China other than the Communist Party. The only right that these other parties have is the right to agree with the Communist Party. So, but there are 8 parties that also posture and posture and posture. You know the story of the tortoise. They say that tortoise was, they carried tortoise. Tortoise said, "What have I done?" They said, "We are taking you on exile." Tortoise said, "What have I done?" They said, "No, we are taking you on exile." He said, "Okay, please put me down." So they put tortoise down. Then tortoise scratched the ground small. And then he got up. He said, "Okay, carry me." And they said, "What have you done?" He said, "Look, this scratching of the ground that I have done, I want my people coming after me to know that I resisted, only that I was overpowered." So the Chinese allow 8 parties to pretend that they are also contesting for the election. And they do contest for elections. The challenge, in my view, is what can we say about Nigeria? Who can we say are our founding fathers? Now, there is, I'm sure there's quite a lot of literature around, and many of you are better informed than myself, and I won't go into it. But we all have a bit of familiarity with the story of how we got to be where we are today. My friend Azu is here. Just 2 weeks ago, he gave me a copy of the book called The Harold Smith Story, A Squalid End to Empire. It talks about all the shenanigans that are not in the text of what happened when the British left us this place called Nigeria. But there's also not a better book, but a very interesting book titled A Fatherless People. The author, Dele Ogun, to my greatest surprise, sent me a copy. But it talks eloquently about where things began to go wrong for us in Nigeria. And they eloquently makes the point very clearly about what the British did and how they surreptitiously kept Awolowo away, because they realized that Awolowo himself, his problem was that while in the United Kingdom as a student, he had imbibed the philosophy of Fabianism. Fabianism was the foundation of the Labour Party, and the Fabian movement in England. It's a very respectable movement, because the Fabian movement actually, they started, well, this is the problem with all these events now, that you asked me to come all the way from Sokoto, and then you asked me to speak, and then it turns out there are more important things to do. It doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't make sense. So I'm going to take 10 minutes, please. But I'm going to take 10 minutes. I came all the way from Sokoto. I left work to be here. So if you wanted me to speak for 10 minutes, I would have done a video and sent to you and then said at home. Now, the Fabian Society is a very prestigious institution. They were responsible for founding what is now the London School of Economics. And I'm sure there are people here who went to LSE. They founded, Lee Kuan Yew went to LSE, Jawaharlal Nehru went to LSE, and for those of you who are in LSE, LSE has produced 50 former heads of state. It has produced 20 Nobel laureates, but they were founded by the Fabian Society. But because Harold Wilson, who was president then, was a conservative, they were naturally afraid that Awolowo might introduce the radical principles of Fabianism into Nigeria. The result was a deliberate effort to keep him away from circulation. What happened to Nnamdi Azikiwe? Azikiwe comes from the United States of America. Dele Ogun deals with these issues and speaks about the frustration that led him to end up in Ghana. Because they also didn't want Nigeria to be diluted by the radical politics of America and the movement in the United Kingdom. So if you bring all this to our situation, it means that we are acting a play we didn't write, but a play that is also full of plots that we're not prepared to deal with. So we now ask ourselves, in our own case, who do we say are our founding fathers? Many of you remember the anecdote about Nnamdi Azikiwe and Sardauna, saying, Nnamdi Azikiwe said, Sardauna, for us to build a great nation, let's forget our differences. The Sardauna said, no, let's not forget, let us remember them. The implications and the distinction between forgetting and remembering is what has brought us to where we are today. So if you find yourself moving without motion, there is a reason. In 1957, there were debates. There are all kinds of problems as to what will this country look like. The minorities in the South were afraid of the domination by the Igbos. The minorities in the North were afraid of the domination by the Hausa Fulani. But the British had given the North 3/4 of the land. And instead, in response to the Minority Commission's report, we were told, no, take this, don't worry, you Christian minorities, don't worry, the North will look after you. Looking after us for this number of years, now Trump has come knocking. So the question, this is not where we ought to be, but this is where we found ourselves. So I want to make the point that we must go back in reloading to ask ourselves, what is happening? What are we doing? What can we do differently? Now, President Jonathan is here. His foundation was rather prophetic because in September last year, he invited me to Ghana, a conference on how democracies die. Now, only about a few days ago, the Pew Foundation in America conducted a research. And the research was to find out the level of satisfaction and dissatisfaction with democracy across the whole world. And listen carefully. Their findings say that Canada, France, Germany, Greece, Italy, Japan, the Netherlands, South Korea, Spain, Sweden, the United Kingdom, and the United States all registered 64% of adults saying they are dissatisfied with democracy. And only 33% said they are satisfied with democracy. Only 2 African countries were surveyed, Kenya and South Africa. Kenya registered 58% dissatisfaction and 42% satisfaction. South Africa registered 63% dissatisfaction and 33% satisfaction. Now, our dissatisfaction with democracy is interesting because India, in the findings, it is only India that registered 23% of disapproval, of dissatisfaction. That means that 77% of Indians are satisfied with democracy. And I think that one of the reasons that we can use, I don't know the reason, but 2 things is that perhaps the nature of the non-universal aspects of Asian religions Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and so on. Because the reason why Nigerians are having problem with Islam and Christianity is their universal claims. Now, because some of these religions are used to define people's cultural identities, they are not necessarily conflictual. So people are not. So the point is that in our own case here in Nigeria, we've had a lot of debate about what do we need to do. I think most of the scholars, everybody seems to agree that if we can get our elections right, everything in Nigeria will be okay. But I say to priests, ordination is a ceremony. It's not the priesthood. A wedding is not a marriage. It's just a ceremony. What happens after wedding is different from what happens, because it is after wedding that the real marriage starts. Because nobody could have imagined, for example, nobody could have imagined that when this beautiful historic wedding on the 29th of July, 1981, when Prince Charles married Princess Diana, was a ceremony that the world stood still for. But nobody could have imagined what happened on August 28, 1966, when the marriage crashed. The point I'm making is that I think that free, fair, and credible elections are necessary, but they are not necessary. They are not a sufficient condition for the institutionalization of the principles of democracy. Precisely because there's still a lot of hard work. And on this argument, again, President Jonathan will remember, my suggestion is that we need to target certain areas. What do you want to remedy when you are making a law? For example, we have been witnessing a flood of defections now across the entire country. These defections cannot happen in Ghana. They can't happen in Ghana. You know why? Not because Ghanaians are not hungry, not because they are not angry, not because they don't feel betrayed, but because they have a law that says that if you defect, you have 42 days for a new election to be conducted, an election in which you cannot participate in. That's what the law says in Ghana. You know, many of us think, sometimes people think that all we are looking for in a democracy, we are looking for good men to govern us. Absolute nonsense. I tell people, if I went to my parish, if I say, go to your wife now, and I said, Madam, you know, this is your husband, Kai, a wonderful human being. Okay? So it is, we are not looking for good people, we are looking for good laws to restrain even the best from trying to break those laws. So when Nigeria continues to say that, oh, we are looking for free, fair, yes, free, fair, and credible elections are possible, but there must be a condition. Secondly, in the Ghanaian system, they have amended their laws. They went through worse things than us. But right now, to be a speaker of the Ghanaian parliament, the speaker is elected is chosen by the president. And it is possible for Bishop Kuka to be, who is a Ghanaian, to become a speaker of the parliament. And once you become speaker of the parliament, you are no longer in a position to hold loyalty to your party. President Jonathan will probably tell his own story about his own experience. I think he told it in Ghana when the speaker defected with 5 members. And our law says that if you defect, you have to write a letter to the speaker who will announce that you have defected. Now the speaker has defected. Who is going to write a letter to whom? So these are the kind of constraints that we need to remove from our system. Finally, I wanted to make reference to something that Olisa Agbakoba wrote as his remedy for the review of our constitution. There's also something about the judiciary which I wanted to talk about, but let me, since I don't want to make people sad, let me try and end by saying and appealing to all of us. Men and women have made tremendous sacrifices to get us to where we are. And we are very lucky. This gentleman that is sitting here, we're very lucky because the world is looking for him. And very often people ask, if you have people like President Obama, why are you still having the problems you are having? Well, we are running on half tank already. It is time for us to begin to think a bit more clearly about the kind of values that can hold our society together. Finally, just a word on the Trump thing. I think all of us are confusing Trump for a sickness. It's a symptom, not a disease. Okay, Trump is a symptom of the disease that is in our country. Now, I think it's Yoruba people that say that it doesn't matter if a snake is dead, whether a woman kill him or whether Abi, the snake is dead. So whether it is Trump or whoever that has given us this jab, it is time for Nigeria to wake up. Thank you very much.
If we came here and all we did was to listen to Bishop Matthew Hassan Kuka and then go home, it will be worth it. You want to put it together for him one more time, please? All the way from Sokoto. You're not asking the man to speak for 1 hour. I didn't say 10 minutes. 1 hour is not enough for Kuka. We know him. You know him. The world knows him. Thank you, Bishop Kuka. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. We still celebrating Dr. Reuben Abati. Permit me to quickly acknowledge the presence of a few more people. We've got His Royal Highness Prince Adeshegun Onero, Chairman Board of Directors, British International School. Let's put this together for him, please. In-house here, we've got retired AIG Tunji Alapene. He's in the house. Please, let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. Otumba Fashawe, Baba's bosom friend, is here with us. Please, let's clap for Baba. Irumole Tola Adeni. Please, let's acknowledge his presence. Let's acknowledge his presence. Prince Boyega Nasir Isiaka is in the house. GNI, thank you so much. A member of my own clan is also here, gaily dressed. Shafi. Yes, go on.
Mama.
Yes.
One of the queens of our industry, our entertainment industry, the amazing
Shafi
Shafi
Bello.
Bello.
Please, let's clap for her. Let's clap for her. Of course, I see my namesake, Mr. Yemi Akejo, is in the house. Let's clap for him, please. So many names. There's a representative of the governor of Kano State here, Sanusi Bature DT, yes, DJ. Thank you so much for acknowledging. And of course, His Excellency came in while all this was coming in, was going on. All the way from Abia State. He came in quietly. And we really want to thank you for showing up. I'm talking about His Excellency Alex Ote of Abia State. One more time, the Deputy Governor of Lagos State is here, Dr. Kadri Obafemi Hamzat. He is here with us, sir. Thank you so much. We cannot say enough of this. A man saw a country that was about to go up in flames. He decided to subdue his ambition so that peace could reign. He's here today. We want to thank you one more time. President Ebele Jonathan. One more time. Let's give it to him. Let's give it to him. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So we go on.
Indeed, we go on, and I've been looking forward to seeing this documentary. It's a documentary that highlights Dr. Reuben Abati's remarkable journey, tracing his professional history, the places he has worked, the people he has worked with, and it also gives a touching glimpse into his personal life while showcasing him as a wonderful husband. At this point, please turn your attention to the multimedia screens.
Celebrating Reuben Abati at 60. The voice, the vision, the virtues of a man engraved. He wears intellect like a crown. humility like a cloak, and love like a compass, forever guided, forever grounded. Born in Abeokuta on November 7, 1965, Reuben Abati is a name that has risen like the morning sun, steady, bright, inevitable, scholar, writer, thinker, commentator, husband, father, a man whose words have carried weight and whose life has carried meaning. He graduated with first-class honors in theater arts from the University of Calabar, bagging the Vice Chancellor's Prize. At just 24, he earned a PhD in dramatic literature theory and criticism from the University of Ibadan in 1990, law at Lagos State University in 1999, leadership training at Oxford in 2015, professional journalism in Maryland from 1996 to 1997. He also won the Cecil King Memorial Prize for Print Journalism in 1998, the Diamond Award for Media Excellence for Informed Commentary in 1998, the Fletcher Challenge Commonwealth Prize for Opinion Writing in the year 2000. The mind did not rest. Each degree, each training, a staircase higher into purpose. From soft sell pages of hints and hearts to the weighty editorials of The Guardian, Abati danced across genres like a man fluent in every tongue. He became a foxtrot professional of the pen, one moment teasing romance readers, the next firing thunder against power. His words did not merely report, they sculpted opinion, challenged authority, unsettled comfort. In 2011 to 2015, Reuben crossed the Rubicon from critic to insider, becoming special advisor on media and publicity to President Goodluck Jonathan. It was a baptism of fire. The critic turned spokesman, the poet turned shield. When that chapter closed, he returned not silenced, but sharpened to television and print. Today, as anchor of the morning show on Arise TV, his voice is law and laughter, wisdom and wit, sarcasm and substance.
Some of the people here are beginning to invite food. So they get the ceremony of the tingle.
Reuben Abati, alongside peer Dele Momodu, emerged as ideological and intellectual captains on the Lagos popular culture scene, especially the Fuji and Juju pop corridors. Thus, they earned the bragging rights as the abstract thinkers that conjured the emergence of Fuji musicians like Shina Peters into national limelight, while Dele Momodu, Bob D, went ahead to float the spectacular celebrity magazine Ovation. Reuben Abati moved to Guardian newspapers to begin a full-time journalism career under the tutelage of watchful eyes as Olatunji Dare, a grandfather of opinion writing in Nigeria. While Momodu took Ovation Global, Abati sharpened his Guardian sword, writing, not forgetting Kayode Ajala, who branched into Hot Magazine. The pop culture of Lagos knew him. The intellectual salons respected him. The streets. Ah, yes, the streets. They felt him. But for all his laurels, Reuben Abati's true crown is at home. A father whose children he educated with the finest tools of learning in top schools across the world. A man who insists that family is first, always. And then came Kike, the woman they fondly call his Oyibo wife. Modern, dazzling, and grounding. Kike did not just marry Reuben, she remodeled him. As they say, the voices around says she polished the public giant into a man renewed in style, softened in heart, sharpened in purpose. Ask him, and he will tell you plainly, Kike completes me. She is his balance, his laughter, his debate partner, his ride or die. On air, he may spar with politicians, but at home, it's Kike's smile that wins the argument. It is said that a man is not truly great until his home applauds him. In Kike, Abati found not just applause, but standing ovation, giant yet modest to a fault. He calls stars by their titles, never by name. Shina Peters to him is always megastar. He wears criticism like a badge and controversy like cologne. From journalism prizes to Commonwealth honors, his shelf is heavy, but his humor keeps him light. He is a man who can thunder on national issues, yet joke about jollof rice the next minute. A lion in the public square, a lamb in his living room. That is the paradox. That is the poetry. That is the man, Reuben Abati. At 60, Reuben Abati remains unfinished, a living legacy, a restless mind, a public conscience, a man of voice, vision, and veracity. A man modernized by love, stabilized by family, immortalized by words. The scholar remains a student, the journalist remains a questionnaire, the husband remains completed by Kike. Reuben Abati, the voice that will not fade, the mind that will not tire, the heart that is forever home. Reuben Abati, not merely a man of his time, but a mind for all seasons, an enigma whose words echo, whose love steadies, and whose story is still being written.
Let's give it to him a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. That was Reuben Nishoki. Beautiful piece. Talking about the enigma, Reuben Abati. Let's clap for him one more time. But jokes apart, Amos Aleko, you've remodeled Omegba. But she's done a wonderful job, please. Let's clap for her. Let's clap for her. Kikelomo Abati. Thank you so much. Beautiful job. Yes,
a few more acknowledgements to
yes,
make.
please. I've got the representative of the former governor of Abia State, Dr. Chris Akoma. Please, let's clap for him. We have quite a number of people here. And we want to save time as much as we want to do this. So I've got the Duke of Shomolu here. The Duke of Shomolu. Yes, Mr. Joseph Edgar is in the house. Is in the house. So many names. Please, if for any reason yours is not mentioned, please don't be annoyed. But please, an important information. The books we are unveiling today and some other books are just outside here. They're outside here. You can pick your copies. And of course, you can go ahead and show your love in the process. Out there, we've got the POS, we've got the account details and all that. Please, let us check it out. It's immediately outside the hall. There you can pick those copies. There is no way you come here and not go with those books. Indeed. Thank you so much.
And indeed, if there's someone in your community, or maybe there is a waiting room in your office reception that you would like to place those books on, maybe you would go away with more than one copy, you know. I know that some came for portraits, people, politics, and society. Some came for a love letter and other stories, but many came for how Goodluck Jonathan became president. I'm going to just drop that there. I'm really interested in hearing about the book, and we're about to do so here. We have amongst us an interesting gentleman. He is Mr. Louis Odion, FNGE. Now, he is here to give a review, an insightful dissection of these amazing books. We would like to welcome him to the stage with some applause. If he's in the room. Is he in the room now? I believe so.
Something tells me he can do that in 10 minutes so that we do not have the Sokoto experience. I don't want him to protest on the stage. Let's encourage Mr. Odion, please. Odion, please.
Respected journalist and thought leader, Mr. Louis Audio.
All the way from Abuja. Well, Your Excellency, the Chairman of the Occasion, President Olusegun Obasanjo, I crave your indulgence to stand on the protocol already established. Well, I titled the review, The Essays as Bearer of National Memory, a review of Reuben Abati, 3-part offering. Among top Nigerian editors of the last 3 decades, the mention of the word monumental only signify one individual, Dr. Reuben Abati. It has nothing to do with the topography or archaeology of his native Egba land, but rather it is an acknowledgement by media contemporaries of Abati's prodigious capacity for both hard work and play. That capacity to engage in scholarly circuits as well as tease flawlessly in street lingo. The facility to deliver a brilliant lecture at short notice and yet never failing to meet editorial deadline to his primary employer. To multitask as a writer, bibliophile, TV, radio anchor, speaker, dramatist, compere, wine connoisseur, and I must not forget to add, a very good lover of beautiful women. And yet, never disappointing in each task or role. If you like, call him a jack of all trades, but he is a master of all. That is why you will hear the shout of monumental, monumental, when Dr. Abati joins the gathering of his media associates. Well, I just heard that President Tinubu added another today, Ruby. Well, I hope Ashwaju of Africa knows the full implication of that. Only that could explain why Abati, who for instance was heard giving an impeccable summary of the presentation by visiting high-profile guests at the Nightshade Coliseum nightclub by Sunday midnight, as the in-house moderator, would yet be among the first to be seated at the editorial board meeting of The Guardian very early the next Monday morning, back in those days. Let me tell you a story. Sometime in the early 2000s, a senior and much older colleague of Abati, perhaps out of malice or envy or both, sought to bruise Abati's ego at the workplace. The story is told that on that fateful day, to the hearing of not a few people gathered, the big Oga said rather condescendingly, quote, "Everywhere I go, everyone keep asking, where's Reuben Abati? Who is Reuben Abati? They don't know you are nobody here in Guardian." I saw our big daddy around, Pa Julie Pharmacy. I'm sure you know about the story. One more word. Of course, that was a big lie. In the estimation of the average reader or follower of The Guardian back then, Abati certainly counted much more. After the exit of titans like Dr. Yemi Ogunbiyi and Dr. Tunji Dare, not a few media scholars would agree that Dr. Reuben Abati came to embody The Guardian in the civic space on account of his high productivity, depth, and influence. To put things in historical context, it must be recognized that before Nigeria's independence in 1960, newspaper columnists played a significant role in anti-colonial agitation by way of mobilizing local resistance, and they all seemed united for a common purpose back then. However, that unity of pursuit unfortunately devolved into something else in post-colonial Nigeria. As the socio-political dynamics changed with the intensification of power struggle among competing factions of the elite, so did the character of newspaper column in Nigeria. And part of the consequence is the emergence and proliferation of media organizations, which in some cases openly aided and abetted the peddling of ethnic or sectional agenda. Nowadays, quite unlike the pre-independence Nigeria, we see a growing number of columnists in the public space who would rather be identified more as defender of ethnic, sectional, or sectarian interests. Abati stands as the very antithesis of this parochial tendency. In philosophy and in practice, Abati's journalism is defined essentially by an unflinching fidelity to intellectual curiosity, logic, and reason. Certainly, it will not be listed among the ethnic irredentists, as can easily be seen through his public engagement in almost 4 decades through the agency of both the written and spoken words. Abati would certainly be counted as a passionate advocate of the concept called Nigeria. Perhaps his greatest strength as a writer is a unique gift to seek winning an argument with the combined artillery of logic and needling humor without being overly abusive. Of course, overall, Abati's language, his stylistics, bear a distinctive flavor marked by easy accessibility without losing elegance, steeped in native humor that disarm even the supposed enemy or confuse those being mocked, so mocked that they start thinking they were receiving a compliment indeed. His multidisciplinary academic exposure is certainly uncommon among peers and indisputably unique in Nigeria's broader civil space. This distinction is very much in evidence in what is now being presented today as an anthology of some of his essays in the last 3 decades, published as columns in The Guardian and This Day. Some of them won him virtually all the prestigious media awards available to be won in Nigeria over the years, as well as got him inducted as a fellow of the Nigerian Academy of Letters. This rich harvest of essays are thematically classified into 3 books, namely How Goodluck Jonathan Became President, running into 285 pages. A Love Letter, Another Story, running into 402 pages, and Portrait, People, Politics, and Society, spanning 642 pages. The books are published by Carter Publication, based in Nigeria. Writing in his seminal book entitled On Heroes, Hero Worship and Heroic in History, Thomas Carey reminds us of the power of little story and little drama. The famous Scottish essayist and historian propounded the theory of the man, which underscores how impactful individuals shape history. What then becomes the history of a nation, according to Carey, is an aggregation of the biography of great men that inhabited the epoch under consideration. So in a way, it can then be argued that with its range, depth, and consistency, Abati weekly column effectively offers an aperture to view the evolution of Nigeria over the past 3 decades. But note, Abati's chronicle is not entirely value-free. He was not a mere verbatim recorder of events or ideas, or a biographer for that matter, engaged in a perfunctory exercise. Rather, his own historiography was undoubtedly shaped by the earlier referenced instinctive bias for logic and common sense, which align with what can normatively be classified as the public interest or the common purpose. The first book, entitled How Jonathan Became President, comprises 31 chapters, subdivided into 4 sections. The first, captioned In the Beginning, details the political and historical circumstances that gave birth to the administration of President Umar Yar'Adua, in which Goodluck Jonathan had fortuitously emerged as a deputy. In chapter 2, with the title, The Jonathan Presidency, on page 29 precisely, Abati sums up popular opinion about the 2007 presidential poll conducted by the Obasanjo administration. Thus, in the end, the 2007 elections were regarded as the worst in Nigerian history. On election day, television station showed images of underage voting, ballot box snatching, and gross violation of the people's right to choose. The international community was alarmed. Local observers dismissed the election as a sham. End of quote. I'm sorry, President Obasanjo. Indeed, the months between the late 2009 and up to the middle of 2010 were quite unprecedented in Nigerian history and obviously unanticipated by the framers of the 1999 Constitution, whereby a constitutional vacuum was exploited by the inner circle of a sitting president, bedridden in a foreign land, with the exact nature of his ailment hidden, plunging governance at home into a state of suspended animation, and turning Aso Rock into a theater of the absurd. Until the 9th of February 2010, when the Senate contrived the doctrine of necessity to proclaim the deputy as acting president. The high drama, treacherous intrigues that preceded the emergence of Goodluck Jonathan, first as acting president following the Senate intervention, and eventually as the substantive president on May 5, after the death of Umar Yar'Adua, are adequately documented in the 11-part series under the rubric of the Jonathan presidency in section 1 of the book. Again, while the Ajia Toure Yar'Adua-led cabal sought to tighten their grip on power in Abuja in her husband's curious absence, Abati vividly captured the popular mood across the land then in chapter 14 with the title, Thank You, Dora. Professor Dora Akuili, the then information minister, has summoned the courage to break the conspiracy of silence by opening up on Yar'Adua. On page 129, the author writes, and I quote, Dr. Akuili is obviously the only man in the Executive Council of the Federation. The others have lost their spine and submitted to the tightly knit conspiracies spawned by that body and its faceless accomplices in deceiving Nigerians 74 days under President Yar'Adua's fate. Akuili, thoroughly fed up with all the fibbing, the chilly-challenge reportedly submitted a memo to the Executive Council this week, asking that the deception must stop and President Yar'Adua must hand over to the Vice President so the country can move forward. End of quote. But as sympathetic as Abati might sound in his portrayal of Jonathan at the hands of the Aso Rock cabal before Yar'Adua passed on, he nonetheless does not hesitate to whip the same Jonathan over a poor habit soon after assuming power. In a piece entitled The Speech Jonathan Shouldn't Have Made, in chapter 31, page 254, the writer scolds the president for a tactless talk at the pre-inauguration lecture with the theme, I quote, a transformation agenda for accelerated national development, after securing an emphatic victory in the 2011 presidential poll. After being handed the microphone at the event, according to Abati, it was a moment some tactfulness or even silence would have been golden. Rather, an overly excited Jonathan chose to rhapsodize on the inadequacy of 4 years for a president or a governor to make a big impact in office, thereby setting an alarm bell in some quarter about possible Indian agenda by someone who had not even been sworn in. Abati's take is quite ruthless. I quote, if that speech was written for President Jonathan, the speechwriter should be suspended and never allowed to write a presidential speech again. He says 4 years is not enough to make a difference because the government needs to settle down and stabilize. That certainly cannot apply to him. He cannot ask for the luxury of settling down after spending 4 years in office as vice president, acting president, with the immediate 1 year after as president. Nigeria don't want him to settle down. They want result. That is why they voted him. End of quote. On a lighter note, maybe that explains why President Jonathan is still looking for Just another way to return to Asoro. Come 27. 12 years after he left the same address. Overall, compelling as Abati rendition of Jonathan's journey to power might sound, the job is certainly incomplete. The nation undoubtedly yearns for an extension of its documentation of the 4 years Abati spent as special advisor on media and publicity to President Jonathan, consistent with the tradition already set by his predecessor and successor in that office. He once whetted public appetite with a Jeremiah written shortly after Buhari defeated Jonathan in 2015 with the title When the Phone Stopped Ringing. As such, the first book many times. That piece, which went viral at the time, is omitted in this collection. It could have been added even as an addendum to the Jonathan Odyssey at the Villa. Could the omission be deliberate or an oversight? Abati surely owe us and future generation a debt to share his insider experience as a key player in the highest office at some point in Nigerian history. For instance, my brother and friend Segun Adeniyi, who served as President Yaradua, already documented his experience in a book entitled Power, Politics and Death, a front row account of Nigeria under late President Umar Yar'Adua, just as the duo of Femi Adesina and Garba Shehu, who served Buhari as senior media aides, have equally published their individual memoir entitled Working with Buhari, and according to the President, Lesson from a Presidential Spokesman Experience, respectively. Now, let us transit to the second book, entitled A Love Letter, Another Story. If the first book, named How Jonathan Became President, dwells on the serious issue of politics, the second one deals with the soft matter. As we can already infer from the title, here we see the humorist Abati in full throttle, deploying his exceptional competence in English language, so to satirize, sermonize, and philosophize. The 77 essay you find here exploit the associated theme of love, family value, fame, fortune, pursuit of happiness, human vanity, etc. For ease of consumption and digestion, the author classified the material into 3 parts. Part 1 is called Love Letter. The second is Nigerian Citizen and Anti-Hero. And the third is called The Legacy of Lister Rasta. The one you might find most hilarious in the collection is the eponymous A Love Letter in chapter 1, where Abati resorts to self-deprecating humor. He shares an application for romance he had written as a 13-year-old lost-meeting schoolboy to a prospective Juliet as part of a determination to test the power of a newfound puberty. He happened to have chanced on the old letter while rummaging his personal library. Here, what a naughty 13-year Abati, otherwise sent to school by parents to learn, intended to send to one boss precisely on July 10, 1978. Quote, "My dearest, sweetest, fondest, fantastic, extraordinary, paragon of beauty, aka Bosse, I hope this letter meets you in a fabulous state of metabolism. Isodosology. My principal aim of writing this letter to you is to gravitate your mind towards a matter of global and universal importance, which shall be troubling my soul. The matter is so important, even as I'm writing, my adrenaline is 100% on the Richter scale. My temperature is rising. The wind vane of my mind is pointing north, south, east. At the same time, the mirror in my eye has only your divine image. Indeed, when I sleep, you are the only one in my medulla oblongata. And I dream about you. I went out to the sea in my dream, and I saw you surrounded by water, and you in your majesty, rose from the abdomen of the sea like Yemoja, the avatar of beauty. Oh, Lord be with us. We are thy servant. End of quote. Monumental. To know how that adventure in romance ended, you would have to get a copy to read. Well, let me fast track now. Well, however, of the 3 tomes by Abati under reference, the most definitive, in my mind, is the 3rd one entitled Portrait, People, Politics, and Society. It reminds of the 690-page classic by the Time of London entitled Great Lives, A Century of Obituaries, edited by Ian Brunskill and published in 2005, or another by Economists of London with the title Book of Obituary, edited by Keith Colquhoun and Anne Rowe, published in 2008. But thankfully, About His Own is not about only the dead. A good many of the personalities examined in About His 3rd book are still very much alive, just as Portrait, People, and Politics and Society showcases the multidisciplinary virtuosity of Abati as a compelling presence in Nigerian intellectual space for almost 4 decades. This particular collection will more or less also pass as a roll call of most, if not all, of the consequential individuals who have shaped and defined Nigeria as well as in the global community in the last 4 decades. As usual, for ease of consumption, Abati subdivided the book into 4 sections, namely Man of the Year essay, 12 in all, published in The Guardian. Then you have the section tagged Profile, followed by different encounters and birthdays. Put together, they are either tributes or mini-biography of 100 individuals. They cut across politics, commerce, military, academia, journalism, law, science, religion, philanthropy, art, and entertainment, and even crime. Another title for this collection will be The Saints and the Sinners. Of course, Abati is not merely documenting them, but also passing a value judgment. Those praised will be those who have impacted their society or humanity at large for good. Those lampooned will be those who left or are leaving the country or the world worse than they met it. Why this collection of Abati is so significant is for the inspirational appeal in most cases, and as cautionary note in few instances. The young one should be inspired by the many examples of how small ideas started by ordinary folk became big through sheer hard work, persistence, perseverance, and delayed gratification. This is all the more instructive in a new world seem to have trust in which the wrong heroes are worshipped and wrong values are glamorized by the social media. For the able ones who think only Yahoo can bring fortune, they will find a rebuke in this collection, for instance, from the story of Jimoh Odutola, who started a business with a capital of just £6, 1921, and through practice rooted in diligence, fear of God, and integrity, transformed commercial octopus in the next 5 decades. A conglomerate that employed thousands in the southern Nigeria. It's no fairy tale. Abati documents a personal relationship with the old man whose disciplined lifestyle ensured he could still visit Abati and climb the stairs at the townhouse at the Guardian when he was well over 90 years old. Paudutola eventually died at the age of 105 in 2010. As we find this in chapter 27. Last one. Taken together, the 3 books are well packaged in a manner that will not only keep the ordinary reader spellbound, but also earn respect from academic quarters with not too many typographical infelicities. The indexing present them as serious academic offerings. Perhaps the low incidence of typo can be attributed to the fact that all the essays earlier benefited from intense editorial scrutiny before being published in The Guardian and This Day. However, I noticed some misalignment in the table of content of the 3 books. The version I was given for this review was a soft copy. While seeking to reference the chapters, I noticed that the pagination set out in the table of content differs from the actual location of the book. I believe this can easily be remedied, particularly for the copies to be sold in the digital space. All said, the 3 books are undoubtedly monumental, fittingly reflecting the putative monumentality of Dr. Reuben Abati, a consequential public intellectual, a media icon, a politician, and more importantly, someone relentlessly advocating for a better Nigeria. Together, this book not only tells the worst and best of us as a nation, but also prognosticates the greatness that awaits us as a nation if only the critical mass can coalesce in the pursuit of a common purpose. I strongly recommend you all get copies to read and pass on to your children, friends, and neighbors. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very, very much, Mr. Louis Odion.
If you have not been reading him, I wonder what you've been reading. Let's clap for him one more time.
I hope to see a publication of that review sometime soon.
Wow.
Interesting.
Reuben. Exposed. This is Reuben exposed. Thank you, Mr. Odion, for that beautiful piece. And Kike Lomo. I was just quickly checking this, and I saw something Reuben wrote on your birthday. Not be today. It is World Kiki's Day today. Happy birthday to my remarkable and intellectually beautiful wife in her 40s, yet defying the aging process. You, my wife, possess a taste that matches your impeccable work ethic. As a hard-working woman, your elegance is only outshined by your Reuben.
No be today.
Only outshined by your work ethic. I am beyond proud of you. Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him, ladies and gentlemen. Of course, while all that was going on, a few people joined us, and some are already here that we've not acknowledged. Please pardon my height, which is the only thing I can attribute to not mentioning the name of the chairman, Access Holdings, much earlier. Ike Boje Imokwede. Let's clap for him, please. Let's clap for him. And while that was going on, Ambassador Dr. Patrick Dele Cole also came in. Much respect, sir. Chairman Odua Group of Companies, Odua Investments, Otumba Bimbo Ashiru also joined us. Please, let's clap for him. We have Mr. Charles Aniago, Information Commissioner and of course, he combines the work portfolio with it, representing His Excellency the Governor of Delta State. Let's clap for him, please. And also representing former Governor Odili, we have Mr. Emma Oka. Please, he deserves a round of applause. We are going to move on quickly. And what's next?
Yes, indeed. Now we will hear from the man who brought all these works into life through print. We're talking about the publisher, Mr. Ayo Aruwo-Shegbe. Please make your way to the stage, sir.
And while we are expecting him, I will acknowledge the presence of Ayodele Aminu, Managing Director, Editor-in-Chief, New Telegraph. Mr. Aminu, thank you so much for being part of this. Thank you.
Sir, it's our hope that within 5 minutes, we can complete this.
Your Excellencies, Your Royal Highnesses, I feel really privileged and honored, and indeed it is with great pleasure to be the publishers of Dr. Reuben Abati. I was fortunate to have been exposed to his writings as far back as my early sojourn into the world of publishing. I have equally read many of his articles, both published and unpublished, at different times. His characteristics, lucidity, and professionalism in writing then prompted me to go after him. For these 3 great books, which we are presenting here today, in his belief to give people the opportunity to thrive, he accepted Culture Publications Nigeria Limited, even though we have never met. I quite appreciate his beautiful wife, which is the beauty equally reflects in what we are seeing, because he was the guidance. She was the guidance. She guided and made sure that things came out perfectly. she was a rock to make sure that we succeeded in getting these books here today. What we are presenting here today is just a fraction of many articles in the archives of Dr. Abati. In the process of putting these books together, we took them for various consultants who all applauded the contents for publication. The quality of the text will be a great reference point to policymakers, students, and researchers. Finally, we hope that Dr. Abati's effort will be appreciated by every one of us here and beyond through the purchase of copies. Thank you all for your presence.
Thank you very much. With that height, I'm not surprised he's churning out 3 books at a go. Can we clap? In the process, while we're going on, somebody came in, a very big name, a former 2-term governor of Ogun State, and a political leader of high repute. Please join me as I welcome His Excellency Akinrogun Olusegun Oshoba. They should please come up. Prince Julius Adelusi Adeluye, with much respect, kindly please come up. If Dr. Ibe Kachiko is here, please kindly join us. Alhaji Najim Jimo, if he's here, please let him join us. Prince Nduka Obaigbena should please kindly join us. SAN Muhammad Bello Aduke, if he's here, please let him join us. If you have the representative of Alhaji Aliko Dangote here, DCON, please let him join us. May I also now invite the celebrant himself, Dr. Reuben Abati, accompanied by Kike Lomo, to please join us. Please join us. And please remember, the books are just outside here. Please kindly pick up your copies. And not only that, that is the process where you can show your love to the celebrant. The account details, the POS, everything is there by the table out here. Please, when you go out, do the needful. We can take our seats while Kabiesi Alake stays back to deliver his goodwill message. Please, one more time, remember the books are out there. You can pick up your more time. Remember the books are out there. You can pick up your copies, and you can also show your love in doing so. The good news is that the EFCC chairman has left. It's now time for Kabiesi Alake Oba Adedotun Aremu Gbadebo. Thank you. Eba mi se Kábíyèsí o. My only worry about this speech is that Kábíyèsí has Baba's instruction to deal with me. God help me.
Your Excellency, the former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, the two of them who are here with us, I think we're very lucky to have them here today. But my own senior, Chief Olusegun Aremu Obasanjo, other excellencies, my Lord the Bishop, Kabiyesi's, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. 20 years ago when I became the Alake of Egbaland, I promised that I will celebrate every Egba son and daughter wherever they may be all over the world. Today I'm very happy to be here for the birthday of a great Egba son, a man of letters. Even though he did not attend my secondary school, he went to an only older in age. My school has produced 2 heads of state in this country. My school has produced so many, the doyen of so many professions. Their school has produced Abba Mieda. That is their school. Now, I want to talk about the celebrant of today, a great man of letters, who's, we didn't know that he's capable of the kind of English that they are fond of in UI. All those big grammar, flabbergasted and all this rubbish. Because it's English in all his newspaper reports and on the television are always simple but elegant English, fantastic way of constructing various sentences. I want to thank him that he has raised once again the level of Egba sons and daughters all over the world. Not just being first in medicine, the first medical hospital in Nigeria, 1895, was built in Abeokuta. Not just in law, the first indigenous chief judge, and so on and so forth, including the newspaper itself, the first newspaper in Nigeria, also in Egbaland, the doyen of accountancy profession. Name anything good in this country, you find an Egba man at the top of it. I congratulate you. And I want to say, the best is yet to come. You ain't seen nothing yet. He's only 60. By the time he's celebrating 70 and 80, maybe he will have become a second Nobel laureate in Africa. I wish you best of everything you wish yourself. And I congratulate the wife also, the great partner that has enabled him to achieve all the things we are celebrating today. Ọlọ́run á wà pẹ̀lú yín o. Gbogbo nǹkan tó bá dáwọ́lé ayọ̀rísí rere o. Eléyìí tó wá ṣe léyìn kò ní já ṣe mọ́ fún ẹ. Ọjọ́ ẹ máa dalẹ̀ àdọ̀gọ̀jọ́. Bó ṣe máa rí fún ẹnìyẹn o. Thank you very much. God bless you all.
Ẹ bá mi ṣe kábíyèsí o. Thank you very much. Hajia Umar Adamu is here representing His Excellency the Governor of Niger State. Please, let's clap for her. Let's clap for her, please. Hello. Thank you very much. Next is Reuben's godfather, Prince Julius Adelose Adeloye. Is to say a few words?
Want to mention here this afternoon, but honestly, he's an extraordinary human being. He has done wonderfully well in the media profession, that I continue to follow him even while I was away in Nigeria, outside Nigeria. So today is to celebrate my dear brother. It's to celebrate my dear brother because we are from the same state. I want to celebrate you, state. I want to celebrate you, Dr. Reuben Abati. You have been wonderful. Abati. You have been wonderful, and that is why your colleagues call you monumental. Why your colleagues call you monumental, because nothing compares with you in Nigeria media industry. So congratulations and God bless you.
Ẹ bá mi ṣe kábíyèsí o. It's now time for him to speak. He's a man of few words. He has refrained from saying a lot of things. But I know that is more than loaded. We thank him, ladies and gentlemen, your excellencies, with utmost respect. I would like to invite a former president of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, President Ebele Goodluck Jonathan, to speak to us while I wish him good luck. For those many years that he was here, I never had the privilege of shaking him. Is somebody taking this photograph? Don't let, please.
Thank you.
That's my good luck.
Thank you so much. You know, people are already tired, so I wouldn't take much of your time. Maybe I should be able to get through in 1 minute. Today is a special day, first for the birthday of Reuben Abati. You're celebrating your diamond jubilee today and your beautiful wife. So first, happy birthday to my younger brother and good friend, Reuben Abati. And I remember Genesis 6 verse 3 say a man should live 120 years, not the Psalm 90 that talks about 3 scores and 10. So today that you are celebrating, you still have another 60 years to go. And luckily for you, Kike will still be very elegant in the next 60 years. So he will still attract those beautiful love letters. So we wish you well, and we join you to celebrate you at 60. It's a remarkable age to celebrate. And you have achieved significantly from all the testimonies, from those who have made speeches, and I don't want to bore the ears of people by repeating those. And as a person, let me also commend you very significantly. I first met Reuben, I think 2010 or so. That was the beginning of Facebook, when I had a lot of fans that were posted all kinds of things in the Facebook. Then your late friend, Oronto Douglas, compiled all these Facebook postings and say, the Friends of Jonathan. And we launched that book in Lagos. And you were invited to come and review the book. And of course, those Facebook posting, very tiny little things. So when you look through, it doesn't really make so much sense. But when Reuben Abati took over the review of that collection, I said, this is somebody that has something upstairs. It shows that you are a scholar, brainy, and intelligent person. And no doubt all your colleagues have been pouring encomiums about their contributions to mass communication in Nigeria. We pray that you still continue doing those in the next 60 years before you get to the biblical 120 years. And on the books, we have to thank you for contributing to knowledge. I always like people who write about me because sometimes it's so difficult for you to even write about yourself, because people know you more than you know yourself. When you tend to write about yourself, probably there's this tendency to overpaint yourself in too many bright colors that probably you don't deserve. But when people write about you, it makes more meaning. So I'll be very, very interested to read how Goodluck Jonathan became president from back to back. And I need to do that in the next couple of days. And when you talk about how I became president, the man who made me president is right here. I hope you probably reflected Obasanjo's role. I hope you captured his role very, as a journalist, you follow up my stories even before you join me in the State House. So I thank you for that. Of course, there were a lot of ups and downs about my political journey. But actually, my political journey looks like a political miracle. From deputy governor to become the president of this country under 4 years was a miracle. It's only God that made it possible. So I have to thank you for documenting it. And I know your scholarly competence. And this will be one of the best collections. If somebody wants to read about Jonathan and the State House, I sincerely thank you, and I remain grateful giving vote of thanks. That is Keke's job. But Reuben Abati served with me very well, so it's like a younger brother to me, and I have to appreciate that all of you, especially his king, his traditional rulers and others who are here, my good friend Governor Oti, Binga Daniel, and all others that are here to celebrate him. Father Cooker, thank you for that Episcopal lecture. In fact, when they were bringing the people presentation, I think you'll give me a copy of that speech. There's a lot to learn from it. You're a scholar, and you've done very well. And the book reviewer, thank you for a good job. As you were reviewing the book, I know that you and Abati belong to the same constituency. And that is why you were able to bring out all this in a very simple and clear manner. Ladies and gentlemen, I thank all of you.
Is a miracle working God. Is a miracle working God. Is the God of Ebele Jonathan. Is a miracle. Please, a big round of applause for former President of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, His Excellency, good luck, Ebele Jonathan. I wish you all good luck. I can't hear an amen. He's here now. Better tap from the anointing. Please. Representing the governor of Akwa Ibom State, that's His Excellency Pastor Umo Eno. We've got Right Honorable Anekan Umana, Commissioner for Information, and Mr. Ekarete Udo, Chief Press Secretary to the Governor. Let's clap for them. If there is no Ekarete in Akwa Ibom, there will be something must be funny. Let's clap for them. One more time. Also, we've got Adiza Bala Usman, Special Advisor to the President on Policy and Coordination. Please, let's clap for her, please. Mr. Austin Eboze of Anchor Insurance is also here. Let's clap for him, ladies and gentlemen.
Your Excellencies, good afternoon. Your Royal Majesties, good afternoon. I stand on existing. Your Royal Majesties, good afternoon. I stand on existing protocol. Kike, are you coming up?
Yes.
Kike, are you coming up?
Yes. Others are joining them. Mr. President, please. Joining them. Mr. President, please. Distinguished Senator Benga Daniel, please kindly join us. Kabiesi Alake, please. Distinguished Senator Benga Daniel, please kindly join us. Kabiesi Alake, please. We're asking you to. Aremo Olusegun Oshoba to please. We're asking you to. Aremo Olusegun Oshoba to please kindly join us. Kindly join us, sir. And of course, lady, sir. And of course, lady. Maiden Abro should please join us. Maiden Abro should please join us. Should please join us. Okay, do we have any other, please? Prince Julius Adeluyi, sir. Thank you so much. And to put a bit of Holy Ghost protection, Bishop Azan Matthew Kuka, please. Let's have the Holy Ghost presence. Shafi, go ahead, please.
And I want to thank him. Now, if you look at the books, the dedication was very deliberate. The book titled Portraits, People, Politics, and Society is dedicated to Dr. Ibe Kachiku. When I was teaching in Ogun State University, I was writing for Hints magazine. And I've seen my editor then, Ekerete Udo. He was my first or second editor, first editor, before other editors came. We were writing romance stories. And I was also writing columns for that publication, from Haynes to Hearts and all of that. So but I don't write romance stories anymore. So then after that, before I went to The Guardian, I worked with Alhaji Najim Jimo in a newspaper called The Hammer. I was editorial page editor. But I had been writing as a freelancer for The Guardian. So Dr. Olatunji Dare and all of them, they said, if you are going to leave the university, the only place for you is the editorial board of The Guardian. And that was how I got to The Guardian. And of course, in those days, they used to give you exam. They don't care, even if you were a professor. So I did 3 months test run. I think I got there October. It was only in January, that the Ogas at the Guardian then said, it's good enough to be one of us. So you see that the book also mentions, in terms of dedication, Mr. Alex Ibro, now of blessed memory. Now, President Jonathan has left. Now, when Mr. Alex Ibro was making me deputy chairman, editorial board, his first question was, how old are you? I think at the time I was about 32 or 33 or something. He said, no, you are not too young to be in fact, I will even make you chairman if you impress me. Just go and do your work. I'm satisfied with your work. Of course, I ended up, deputy chairman, editorial board, and I became even more notorious around the country. So, the book is also dedicated to Professor Pat Utomi. Professor Pat Utomi, for 10 years, I was on a program called Patito's Gang. At a time when he was going into politics, he just handed over to me and said, okay, be presenting the program while I go and do politics. Some of the gangsters, I've seen one of them here, Tony Nacheta, Uguefi, Tony Nacheta, thank you for coming. And then, of course, after that, after I went to Abuja and came back, I wrote again for The Guardian while resting for some time, and then I ended up on television. And Prince Nduka Obagbena made that possible a second time. And that has become my daily engagement now, apart from writing columns on a weekly basis. So I thank all of them for giving me the platform, for giving me the opportunity to express myself. And I'm really grateful. Now, the book on President Jonathan. Well, by the time you look at it, it's not yet the book. There is a rule that when you serve in government, you are bound not to say what you know for about 10 years. So the 10 years have just passed. So the book on the Jonathan years will still come. But this is just, me warming up by putting together some of my earlier notes. And it's dedicated, of course, to President Jonathan. Because after we left office, there were some issues. The Buhari government was fighting us. And there were people who were saying, look, let's have a committee. Let's fight back. I think after 2 or 3 meetings, President Jonathan called me and said, you people should take it easy. Because after God, it is government. And that's why I wrote in that dedication that, you are right, sir. Indeed, after God, it is government. So if you go and fight government, if government wants to fight you back, they will find something. And then, of course, the other book, A Love Letter, is dedicated to all my teachers, living and dead. Because I'm a product of the diligence of those who taught me. Those, including those who taught me all the good things and the bad things. One of them, Femi Awoyemi, he's just looking at me. I learned rascality from him. So that is the basic story behind those 3 books. And then, of course, I'm just overwhelmed that we could feed this all and that the attendance has been remarkable. Prince Obagbena says he's having a party this evening. This afternoon, some parties. Tomorrow, another party. In Abeokuta on Sunday, my brothers and cousins, they say they are having another party. I hope I'll be strong enough to be in front of television in the morning. But I want to thank everyone here, particularly our fathers that are here. When I went to invite Kabiesi, Kiki and I must have gone to Abeokuta about 2 or 3 times. They will say, oh, Kabiesi is in London. They will say, oh, Kabiesi is in Lagos. So I just looked at it one day. I said, okay, I know Prince now. Let me call Prince and tell him that, where is Baba now? I would like to see Baba. So he said, Baba is in Lagos. So, I said, should I call him? He said, call him. So I called Kabiesi. Kabiyesi said, no, you don't need to go to Abeokuta. Come and meet me in my house here in Lagos. And, that was how it happened. And he promised that he will be here. Kabiyesi, thank you very much, sir. When I called the Kabiyesi Olota of Ota, he immediately said, oh, I'll be there. I said, no, Kabiyesi, I want to come to the palace to invite you. He said, no. You have told me. I've noted the date. I will be there. He didn't want any formality, any protocol. And this is the second time that Kabiyesi is just standing by me without any protocols. When I did the book on the late Alakperu of Ikperu, it was Kabiyesi that was the book reviewer. Of course, he was invited by his colleague, now Oba Basibo Oduru IV. The book on him is on display there. Other books on display there, my wife's books. She's an author herself, a writer, a journalist. So she has 3 of her books on display. I said, oh, bring your books too. Let's show that this is what we do when we are not doing other things. we try to write books. So, Kiki, thank you very much. And then, of course, the MCs, wonderful job that you have done. What will I say about our mommy, Lady Medinebu, publisher of The Guardian? You know, when Mrs. Sibru joined us at The Guardian, we used to have carpets, dusty carpets in the place. She came around and said, why do you people have this kind of dust? She changed the look of the entire company. Some people used to wear, a certain types of cloth to the editorial board. She said, no, this is a serious business. People must wear suits. They must wear ties. That was how wearing of suits and ties became, Prince Julius Adelusi will be laughing. Because in those days, when I first came from the bush, I used to teach in the Agowi, Augusta University. Prince used to say, you can't succeed in this Lagos if you are wearing these Amatan clothes. But he gave me opportunities. We traveled to Cairo. We traveled to other parts of the world. When The Guardian was shut down, he got me a job at the United States Agency for International Development with Dr. Stella Goins. So I was even busy, even when the Abacha government shut down the place. So every time, and so when he sees me now with my bow tie, he says, yes, we are getting there. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. And Kabiyesi Unitele of Itele, thank you very much, sir, for, honoring this event. Now, I see many people in the audience who have not yet been introduced. Mr. Danny Koglu is the general manager of Eko Hotels. Yes, sitting next to him is one of our Oloris, Dr. Princess Yaduni Gbadebo, daughter-in-law of Kabiyesi, the Alake of Egbaland, but she's, one of the top flight directors at Eko Hotels. Now, friends and family are here. I've seen Dr. Bode Olajumoke. I've known Dr. Bode Olajumoke for years, since, I was very small like this. And he used to encourage the younger generation. He and the governor of night shift, Mr. Ken Caleb's Olumese. Now, they are in their 80s now. So, Ibrahima and I, we were discussing the other day. We said, these people, these were young people. When I went to Abuja, they still came to the club because we had night shift Coliseum where we always had fun. How come by the time I came back from Abuja, I'm not hearing they are in their 80s? Do you mean they were still rocking in their 70s? Another accomplice of theirs is Professor Bolaji Akiyemi. I think he has left. These old men, they were rocking till their 70s. You can't but we thank God for their lives. They are aging gracefully, And Dr. Patrick Deleko and Baba Olusegun Oshoba, the Akinrugun of Egbaland. Now, these are the founding fathers of the Guardian. So you can't work in the Guardian and then you will not hear about the exploits of Dr. Patrick Deleko and Aremo Olusegun Oshoba, who helped to set the standards. And up till the time I went to Abuja, Dr. Cole was still very active in the Guardian. Now, when I called him the other day, he said, you will be 60? Oh, I'll be there. I wanted to say, I want to come to the outside. He said, don't bother yourself. Take the address. I'm still in the same crescent where I used to live. Just send the letter and I'll be there. Thank you, sir, for coming. And then Baba Olusegun Oshoba, the same thing, when we went to his house to invite him. He had a very busy schedule, but he said, whatever it takes, I'll be there. And when you see people like Dr. Patrick Deleko, Baba Olusegun Oshoba, and also the founder and chairman of the Nigerian League of Columnists, that's Akogun Tola Adeniyi. I think I told him, I saw his photograph in the papers. I said, sir, are you in town? He said, yes, of course. I said, well, you live in Canada. Because after a while, he relocated to Canada. He will spend some time in Canada. He will come back again. So, and here he is. In fact, this morning, by 5 a.m., he has sent me happy birthday message. Thank you, sir. Okay, very quickly, I see that the MCs are trying to hurry me up. Many of our colleagues are here. The entire media establishment supporting one of their own, Azubike Ishekwene, all the way from Abuja. Mr. Eniola Bello, Director of Arise News, Managing Director of These Day Newspapers. Former Guild of Editors, Nigerian Guild of Editors President, Adefaye is here. Mr. Babarinsa, one of our guys in the job, is here. Mr. Taiwo Ube is here. Who else is there? Matthew, who used to work with me at The Guardian. Ibrahima, well, I mentioned you. He was the one helping me to distribute cards and all of that. When I saw Mr. Yemi Akeju in Abuja, he said, no, your ambassador has been to my office. He has delivered your message. Sam Omashe, Sam Omashe, he's my very good friend. The big Sam. Otumba Bimbo Ashiru. Professor Anthony Killer, on the same table with me every Sunday at the Arise News. Adiza Bala Usman, the special advisor to the president. I sent her a letter and the card and all of that. You know, then when I just ran into her at the airport in Abuja. He said, which number did you send it to? I said, the same number that I've always had. He said, no, I have another number. So we stood there right at the airport. He said, forward the invitation to me on this number. And I did. And she said, I will be there. And in fact, this morning, very early, Nino Adedokun, his assistant, was already here saying, look, the special advisor is coming. Thank you very much indeed. Tony Chiejina, many years ago when he was in Concord, we were all young journalists. He was living in Songodel, Songo. In those days, many journalists lived in Ogun State and worked in Lagos. The reason they lived in the outskirts was because rent was cheaper. But before our very eyes, the next thing I heard was that Chiejina has built a house in, what do they call that place? VGC. How did you do it? He said, my level don't change. Of course, now he's the director of communications with the Dangote Group. So I don't even know whether he now has mansions in Banana Island. So, Tony, I thank you very much. Majid Jamil, MJ, my very good brother. Ayodele Oma Aminu, I see you. Thank you very much. Honorable Commissioner for Information, Lagos State, Benga Omotosho, we all work together at the Guardian. Dr. Maureen Chibo, thank you very much. Dame Comfort to be, yes, publisher of the Source, thank you very much. I see Mike Effiong, he came in this morning from Akwa Ibom. Well, I want to thank Martin Soloja, editor, and also Alaji Akim Bello. I thank all of you very much. I see all of you. And then very quickly, let me talk about family. My aunties are here. Mrs. Regina. Okay, that's Dr. Abdurazak. Dr. Abdurazak is here. Dr. Abdurazak, he was the one when my son was looking for admission. He said, no, the only university that he can go to study law is my faculty, which is the University of Hull. I said, Hull? I've not heard of Hull. He said, no, I assure you, he will do well in the school. That's how my first son went to Hull and did a first degree and did a master's. And in another regard, Dr. Abdurazak is the chairman of Bridge House College, one of the best sixth form schools in Lagos. And I am a member of the advisory board of Bridge House College. And I think within the Abati family, almost about 5 or 6 have gone there straight to universities, either in Canada or elsewhere. And many more are queuing up to go to the same Bridge House. We still have a long queue. So, Mrs. Victoria Oshinuga, my auntie, thank you. Mrs. Regina Afandolo Igbinedion, thank you very much. My father-in-law is here, 80 riches. Mr. Ganiyu Olatunde Atondawo, thank you very much, sir. He came all the way from the United States, and also from the United States, my sister, I call her Yalodi Ope, and her husband, Mr. and Mrs. Faturoti from Texas, United States. Mr. Yemi Adeogun from the United Kingdom. We all grew up together. Tunji Adeogun, all my younger ones, they are here. Robert Abati, Ralph Abati, Isaiah Abati. I'm looking around the hall now. They're telling me to hurry up. Yeah. I see Mr. Shegun Oniru, Prince Shegun Oniru. Thank you very much for coming, sir. And then, of course, Prince Unduka Ize, Chief from the Asaba Kingdom. You know, one of our very good friends at the Guardian. And then, of course, AIG Alakmeni, Tunji Alakmeni, retired. He was not in Lagos when I called him. He said, no, I will reschedule my program, and I will make sure that I'm there. You are our brother. Etim, who was one of my co-conspirators on the editorial board of The Guardian, is also here. Dr. Fabian Benjamin. Dr. Fabian Benjamin is the spokesperson of the Joint Admissions Matriculation Board. Here in his own capacity, and also representing Professor Isiak Oloyede. I don't know whether Dr. Benjamin will say, oh, you Egba people who have taken over JAM. But you all agree that Professor Isiak Oloyede is doing a great job as the secretary of JAM. Now, there are representatives here, representative of Sir Peter Odili, my good friend, Dr. Imaoka, thank you. Sanusi Bature, all the way from Kano. Honorable Commissioner for Information, Kaduna State. Ahmed Miyaki, okay, he was sitting here. Otumba J.K. Randu, who has just published a book about King's College. He's always writing. The Godfather never sleeps. Congratulations on your latest book, sir. Thank you very much. Mr. Biodun Shubanjo, Troika Holdings. Many years ago, I was invited to come and work at Quadrant. I think, 94 thereabouts. then at that time, I looked at it. I said, this journalism, I find it interesting. I want to spend a little more time in this job. And that was how I didn't end up at Quadrant. Now, my brother Gbemiga Olabi is here. Prince Samuel, thank you very much, sir. I'm just trying to look around the hall to see where my daughter, Elizabeth Abati, first class Bristol, LLM Cambridge, and so on and so forth. Yeah, she's shy, but you know, we used to compete at home. She would say, you know, I'm smarter than you. I said, really? Really? Okay, prove it. So she went and brought first class from University of Bristol. So I said, well, this is your first class. Do you know that my record in the at the University of Calabar is still standing? He said, no, you are comparing Village University to Bristol. I said, well, it's from that Village University that I paid for your for your Cambridge and your Bristol. Now she's threatening to go to Harvard. Now, where is MD? My MD at the Guardian, Mr. Eluem Emeka Izeze. If you are here, sir, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. In those days, you know, journalism was so interesting that we used to sleep in the office. 1 a.m., we will be working on essays, on copies. Mr. Izeze will pick his pen, he will work on it. Maybe it's around after 1 that you say, oh, there is night vigil. Let me go for night vigil. He will return the following day and we'll be doing the job. We enjoyed the work. And then this is Mr. Yomi Odunuga working out here. It was my student first at Ogun State University, and he has become my friend, my very good friend. He's now SA Media to the Secretary to the Government of the Federation. Thank you very much for your friendship. Shinoka Onishi is here. Oh, Shinero. Shinoka Onishi and myself and one of our friends, Wale Olaitan, who later became Vice Chancellor of the university, and Sheson Ajayi. We had a group called the Osu Collective. In those days, you know, we used to debate each other on the pages of newspapers, but I don't know whether they have that culture anymore as we had it. Dikpo Daudu, thank you. Omo Mamake, my good friend Akinyele Oladeji. We met a friend of mine, Kola Ogunleye. We used to go and visit a lady. I don't want to be too specific. So Akinyele used to come there. That was how all of us became friends. Going to another man's house to go and visit his daughters. But we have remained friends. Auntie Shafi, you all know Auntie Shafi as an actress, but she's my in-law. Thank you, Auntie Shafi, for your friendship. I saw Mr. Gbadebo Roosevelt earlier on, formerly of the Labour Party, I think now of the ADC. Ogbuefitoni Nacheta is here in his personal capacity and also representing Mr. Peter Obi, who was even one of the first people to get in touch with me this morning. Jackson Udom, SA Media, to the governor of Akwa Ibom. The SA Media to the president of the Senate, chairman of the National Assembly, Senator Gosula Fabio is also here. Chigoge Okoli, SAN, my very good friend, is also here. Chigoge Okoli, thank you very much. Professor Anthony Kila had mentioned him earlier on. But if I left out anybody, yeah, this is Professor Kila here. Please forgive me. And then, our good friend GB, chief, multiple chief, veteran journalist, is also here. For all of you, I want to thank you very much. Persons who have come. Mrs. Adefeko, I see you. Mrs. Tara Durotoye, thank you very much. Doctor, I see you. Thank you. All my Egba brothers. Mr. Daudu. Mr. Tude Daudu. I've seen him. Okay. I'm being told that before I mention everybody in the hall. Thank you very much, Mr. Reuben Shegbe. Thank you, my son, Louis Odion. Mr. Ochitoju, thank you very much, sir, for coming. Well,
a big round of applause for Reuben. Oh, yes, he will go on and on and on and on. Let's clap for him. Please, what you've just seen, and I mean this, is not just a session of acknowledgement. It's a testimony and a testament to his brilliance. Having to recall all those names. Let's clap for him. Let's clap for him. We are going to do us one favor. Please, let's listen to Reuben Abati. Please, as she says, thank you. Please, let's show her some love. Kike, please, can you skip the photographs for now and come and say your thank you? Kike, we are waiting. Kike, you need to come and say your thank you now. No, please. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the books are out there. And Reuben Abati will be coming up here now to autograph the books that have been purchased. Just say thank you.
Please make sure
Just say thank you as we do that.
As you go through the hallway, the books are there on display for you to purchase. Not just for you, but
as
for
people live out
in your communities. Pick up as many copies as you can today, because we have no idea how long it'll take to replace the first batch.
I'm not sure I have any other thing to say. After all what my husband said, I just want to say thank you to everyone who has traveled from far and near. Thank you. May joy never cease in your homes. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Reuben will be here to autograph his